Earthing science. Many of you do not know anything about earthing, but the science of earthing is very effective against insomnia. What I am going to be sharing with you in this video is far more than just about how to overcome insomnia through using the science of earthing. But first of all, let me just briefly explain to you what earthing is. Earthing is where people have direct contact with the earth. The reason they do this is because it allows an electrical charge, electrons from the earth, to come into the body that has very effective health benefits. And these have all been verified by many scientific studies. In fact, what I will do in this videos is I will be showing you various medical doctors and scientists that verify the many significant benefits of earthing. And one of them is that it will significantly improve your sleep. Well, I'm not going to be just sharing with you about that science in particular, but about other discoveries that have come out of the earthing of science that are so amazing that you will probably find it too good to be true. But I will go to the actual scientific sources so that you know that what I am sharing with you is real. I'm going to be sharing with you about the very root cause of cancer that's recently been discovered, and something that is very effective against the root cause of cancer related to the science of earthing. I will be sharing with you about an amazing discovery by NASA in 2003 that turns on 150 genes towards youth and 175 maturation genes that accelerate aging are turned off. I will show you plants that, when exposed to particular frequency that is very healthy, that cause those plants to grow twice as large and cause growing fish also to grow twice as large. The plants have better taste and far more fruit and are far more resistant to the elements that plague these plants. There are many other things I will share with you. I will share with you about the Schumann resonance and how that has been the same since the beginning of creation, and yet now it is changing because of the billions, or literally millions or billions of microwaves that are being pumped in to the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance is the atmosphere around the Earth for the first 50 miles, which has resonance, that's vibrations in it, which have very healthy effects and help us to sleep very well. So there are many things I want to share with you in this video that will be surprising and amazing. And I will be sharing with you about a particular inexpensive device that I have discovered that has a 90-day money-back guarantee if you do not experience significant improvement in your sleep and significant youthful benefits where you notice that you are feeling far more youthful. And I will take you right to their guarantee that is on their website, that you know that what I'm saying is true. I'm going to show back everything up. Okay? So, first of all, I better minimize myself here. And I want to show you a few things here that are important for you to know about. I'm going to go into earthing. And this is all ad lib. I don't go by notes. I just speak from my heart. And I want to begin to share with you about earthing first so that you can understand how effective it is. So one thing I will do is I will take you to some videos here, which are on. One of the benefits of earthing is that you will be protected from the stress hormone cortisol, which causes you to get fat if it's given off when it shouldn't be given off. which is in fight and flight. But let me refer you to some authorities so that it's not just me speaking. So here we go. Okay, so here's a video. You look at this for yourself. I'm going to put it back to the beginning as soon as this advertisement gets out of the way here.
Silent inflammation is...
Okay. Start there.
Dr. Steve Sinatra. Welcome to week 9 of my heart health and weight loss program. Today I'm going to talk about grounding. You know, one of the greatest health discoveries I've ever made was that earthing, putting your bare feet on the ground, is one of the greatest discoveries medicinally I've ever made as a cardiologist. I've done clinical studies on it. I published 2 papers on it. One paper was on heart rate variability, how it supports the heart. The other paper, how it thins the blood. And I'm absolutely amazed. I mean, grounding has literally changed my life. What can it do for you? What can it do for weight loss? Well, you know, what we...
So I'm just showing you, some of the evidence there so that you can know for yourself how powerful this is that I'm talking about. There's lots of studies that have been done on earthing and how it changes the cortisol levels. I see a folder here on it. I'll just open it up. I'm ad-libbing this, but this folder is going to give you actual scientific studies on all kinds of things here, showing how it lowers the cortisol levels. Cortisol is the stress hormone that has a lot of destructive pathways in it that is given off when you are exposed to high frequencies that are above 15 hertz. There are pulsed electromagnetic field devices that emanate frequencies for people's health. They are very popular in Europe and are used in many of this, health centers. And that's because there's solid science behind them. They do really work. But they are mainly used for healing joints and pain, whereas what I'm going to be sharing with you about is certainly includes that, but includes far more that is far more amazing and powerful. And so I will get into that soon. He talked about how it thins the blood. Basically, what it does is earthing causes a powerful zeta charge. Now, when you're earthing, what you do is you want to have your body in direct contact with the surface of the earth through walking with bare feet on the grass or the sand or concrete. Those things will conduct it. Wood won't conduct it. Blacktop won't conduct it. Earthing, the earth gives off electrons, a negative charge of electrons that causes this zeta charge in the blood, which causes the blood cells to all be evenly spaced apart. You can see videos on it right here. I don't need to maybe overdo it with it, but here, for example, is some right here. I'll just bring it up to where it's showing it, because we don't need to see that. What we need to see is where it's actually got. It's going to come up here. So that's the difference when it's evenly spaced apart as opposed to being clumped like this. So there's an example of that for you. Well, I should leave the video running though. Let's turn the video off. Don't have things running. Okay. There's various discoveries that have come out of the science of earthing. Now, what causes these healthy electrical emanations from the earth is lightning. There's probably about 1,000 lightning storms going off all at the same time around the earth. That's one factor. Another is that the core of the earth may be causing a particular pulse. There's a discovery that was made by a renowned scientist, I should say, Dr. Rob Beck, back in the 1960s. He took 2 poles, metal poles, 20 feet long, and put them 20 feet apart and 20 feet deep into the earth, and used the appropriate electrical equipment to measure if there was any pulse coming out of the Earth. And he discovered that there was a significant pulse coming out of the Earth, which was 9.6 hertz. Later on, it was discovered that that 9.6 hertz had incredibly powerful health benefits. This was certainly discovered by some scientists even before the amazing discovery done by NASA in 2003, which is called the Goodwin experiment, where they discovered that this particular frequency, now they used 10 hertz, which is basically almost the same as 9.6 hertz. The 10 hertz was discovered to have so many amazing health benefits that I'll just list a few here to you before I take you to the actual NASA website. It was discovered that it turned off 175 maturation genes that accelerate the aging process. It was discovered that 10 hertz would turn on 150 genes that improve and significantly cause greater youthfulness because they cause the cells to become younger and more youthful. So let me take you to that NASA experiment called Goodwin, the 2003 NASA Goodwin experiment. So let's go there. I think the one I'll go to is this one. I'm not sure if that's the best one. We'll get the right one. Okay. Well, that's got the PDF. I think I'll just use the PDF, which is on their site. Here it is. It's loading. This is called Goodwin by Thomas J. Goodwin, this experiment. Let me just take you to the actual paragraph. I'll just type in 150 because it was 150 genes. And here it is. This is the paragraph here that shows about those 150 genes that caused greater youthfulness. And then the other ones that would accelerate the aging process. This is known to be the fact from scientists that know a lot about this kind of stuff. So that's taking you to the actual NASA website. You can see the address up here is the actual NASA government website. Some of the things they discovered as well is that this particular frequency was, there are other healthy frequencies. Anything from 0.5 hertz or even less, all the way up to 15 hertz is very healthy for you and has various benefits. But the 10 hertz was quadruple in its benefits, such as the example I just gave you. Now let me give you an understanding of how powerful this frequency is, this 10 hertz frequency. There's something known as the mitochondria in our cells. And for those of you that don't know what the mitochondria is, it doesn't hurt for me to go and open up a website. And I'm doing this, it's all ad lib. I don't have notes or anything here. I just, mitochondria, there it is. So I type that in there, go to videos, and let's just take a look at what the mitochondria is for you people that don't know. With a little short clip here.
Our body is made up of trillions of cells. They all require energy to function. This energy is
Whoops, sorry.
Here, food is converted into chemical energy called mitochondria. Here, food is converted into chemical energy called ATP. ATP is released by the mitochondria so cells can use it. Mitochondria consist of two membranes.
I think that's enough in showing you what the mitochondria is. If your cell is healthy, you have anywhere from 70 to 1,000 of them in each of your cells. There's been recently an amazing discovery about how the mitochondria, the degradation of the mitochondria, is the root cause of cancer. And probably it's best for me to explain this to you first about the root cause of cancer. What they discovered is that sugar is the number one cause of degrading the mitochondria. The second cause right behind it, it degrades the mitochondria, is high frequency waves. Anything above 15 hertz can be damaging to the mitochondria, particularly real high frequency waves that are coming from our cell phones and microwave ovens and whatever else. They cause significant damage to the cells. Particularly, it's the mitochondria in the cells that get degraded. When the mitochondria are degraded in the cells, they send off a distress signal to the nucleus of the cell. And the nucleus of the cell in turn sends off distress signals to other parts of the cell to produce energy that were not designed to produce the energy. These distress signals cause genetic damage to the cell, which causes the cell to turn cancerous. That's what they discovered. I will take you to the source. I always do. So you can see for yourself that what I'm saying is backed by solid science. So let's go to cancer in this case, and I will take you to that particular page. Here we go. The Metabolic Theory of Cancer. Mercola.com. Very good video to watch on it. The article is very informative, mentioning how they discovered this as a root cause of cancer. One of the powerful things against the degradation of the mitochondria is a ketogenic diet, where you're eating 70% healthy oils and other things that are like vegetables and so on, and no sugar, so that your body burns ketones instead of sugar. That you can find out all about here on this website. The other thing that is very powerful to protect the mitochondria is the 10 hertz square wave frequency, or the 9.6 is even probably more effective, slightly so. So, when this particular frequency is given off, it's like a mechanic going to all the mitochondria, like a mechanic going to a car engine. Whoops, there goes my chair down. A mechanic going to a car engine and giving it a tune-up and giving it a thorough cleaning. When that happens to all your cells, because of the 10 hertz square wave frequency, your cells, mitochondria, become very healthy, so they're protected against cancer, and not just cancer, all diseases, basically. Your energy level goes way up, and then that energy, when you sleep, is converted into healing power. So this has many powerful benefits. Now, I wanted to share with you some other things also in regards to the mitochondria. I want to share with you now at this point about an inexpensive device that is related to earthing because it's related to giving off the same frequencies as is given off by the Schumann resonance. Now, many of you don't know what the Schumann resonance is, and I will explain that to you in a moment. But right now, I just want to show you briefly the device I have here. It doesn't just give off the 10 hertz square wave frequency, but it's giving it off right now. I have it set for that. Here it is. Oopsie daisy. I'm kind of doing this ad lib, so nothing is particularly. I got it hooked under my chair at the moment. One sec. So here it is. And this device is designed to entrain your brain into deep sleep while you sleep in bed. It will give off the proper frequencies to entrain your brain into deep sleep. You can set it to give off the 10 hertz or 9.6 hertz or whatever else. It only has the frequencies that are healthy up to 15 hertz. You can set it to alert mode so it keeps you really alert while you're working on your computer or driving your car, because you can get something to plug it into your car. So it's very powerful. That's all I want to share with you about that right now. Some of the other things that are amazing about this particular frequency, what it does, are the growth of plants and fish, for example. Let me just take you to a site and show you. This is the actual inventor's manufacturing site. This is the device I just showed you that caused these fish to grow that much larger, almost twice as large, being exposed to the 10 hertz square wave frequency. Now let me show you the plants. Here's some plants here. In the above picture, 6 hours of 9.6 hertz pulsed electromagnetic field made plant to the left 2 times larger, 3 times the tomatoes, plus more resistant to fungi and bugs. And then it's got the picture below. Below picture shows the effects for growing giants using our older model PMF device from back in 2006. I've been using mine for about 3 years, but it wasn't 2006. It was, obviously mine's a newer one, but it's not as new as the new ones they have now. So we see here seeds and beans are soaked and sprouted under the influence of the earth pulse PEMF growing system and grew far more robust than those sprouted without stimulation. Yield of mung bean sprouts was nearly doubled by weight, while yield of alfalfa sprouts increased 42%. Taste was also significantly enhanced. So that's quite amazing. So, your children, you want them to be 12-foot giants? Just give them this. They'll be twice as large, right? I'm just kidding you, of course. Don't take me serious, please. I'm not going to tell you that your children are going to be 12-foot giants. But I do believe it can be very effective in improving probably growth where a child is not growing as it should. So that's that. Going back to our topic, which is unearthing here, unearthing benefits. I want to share with you a little about the Schumann resonance. This is the first 50 miles of our atmosphere is known as the Schumann resonance, where there is the resonating of waves, or the reverberation of waves that are produced by a number of factors. They're produced by the magnetic fields that emanate way out many thousands of miles from the Earth. They are produced by about 1,000 thunderstorms going off all at the same time. And then there's the core of the Earth that seems to be what's emitting this 9.6 hertz frequency. All of these things cause reverberations of waves in our atmosphere. And there's something very amazing that you need to know about this in relation to sleep, because things have really changed in the Schumann resonance. But first I need to point out to you some things about the Schumann resonance. These here are the waves that are in our brain. Alert, daytime, your brain is at beta levels between 14 hertz and 30 hertz. Relaxed and alert state of your brain in the early morning, for example, the alpha waves are between 8 and 14 hertz. The theta, which is light sleep, is between 4 and 8 hertz. And the delta, which is deep sleep, is between 0.5 and 4 hertz. So that's pretty significant. Now, what the Schumann resonance has in it from the beginning of creation are these same waves. They didn't know that for some time. The Schumann resonance was discovered, and then later on, another scientist began to realize, hey, that's the same that's in the brain. Okay. So now there's been experiments done showing that the brain can be powerfully entrained into deep sleep by pulling it from the beta all the way through the various waves down to the delta. That's what this device does. And there's 2 universities that have done experiments showing that this is extremely effective. For example, they use sound machines and light to try to get people to sleep. That's effective too, but it's not as effective as this, according to what's indicated by these studies done. One at the University of Quebec here, that's the link to that one, and the other one, University of Wisconsin, coming up here, which kind of takes a bit longer and flips over. There it is. So that's just to show you that information and verify it. Now I want to show you an amazing documentary and take you to certain parts of this documentary. This is in relation to the Schumann resonance and how significant it is. You see, what's been happening with the Schumann resonance is that all the millions of white microwaves that are being pumped in to the Schumann resonance have started to change it. Now I probably should just have left this thing up here. I'll bring it up again to point out something about these waves. I notice a lot of people don't understand when they're doing videos up on the internet about the Schumann resonance. It's the amplitude that is the issue that is causing significant changes in the Schumann resonance. The amplitude is like sound. It is the intensity. If a sound is low, it's not going to affect you very much. But if the sound is really loud, like a gun going off, man, you're going to feel the effect of it. So the amplitude of these frequencies has changed because of the microwaves being pumped into it. The amplitude is normally in the area of the delta, where it is healthy for our brain and pulls us into deep sleep. But now the amplitude is going into the beta, that goes higher than the 30 hertz even. What does that do? That makes it so you're getting the stress hormone cortisol, which has so many destructive pathways being given off in your body that causes you to gain weight and so on. And you can't sleep. Another thing that you should know about at this point while I'm talking about this is about smart meters. You can see videos on the internet about smart meters, how the United Nations is getting these things put into communities around the world. It's almost like they're control freaks, because the frequencies given off by those smart meters can cause them to pick up what you're doing on your computer and all kinds of other things. But the worst thing about it is that they all go off at the same time, causing an amplification. They go off around 3 in the morning, causing people to wake up. And they're giving off these high frequencies that cause cancer. And so there's whole communities in the United States that are getting people off these smart meters. There's a whole movement against it. Now, these, in the Schumann resonance, I want to show you a weather channel about this. Here is a weather channel. Here you will get reports of what's going on with the Schumann resonance, including many other things where there's bad solar activity from the sun or whatever else, or solar winds. But here's the Schumann resonance. This is where you get a readout. These white areas where the amplitude is way too high in the high frequencies. Right now it seems to be really going pretty bad. Here you got it going for quite a bit. And this is causing a lot of terrible effects to the whole world, and I'm going to show you some of that because there's this amazing documentary which I want to show you right now a little bit of on this Schumann resonance. First I'm going to take you to the thing about the DNA here on here. So watch this. As soon as the advertising gets out of the way. Good.
And in 2011, groundbreaking research suggested something even more impressive, that Schumann resonance could be connected to the beginnings of life itself. The breakthrough came at the hands of Luc Montagnier, the Nobel Prize-winning scientist who first discovered the HIV virus. The professor was conducting water memory experiments, examining how water could retain a memory of substances that had previously been dissolved in it, when he stumbled upon something that would challenge the very principles of science. All life comes from life. This is a fundamental principle of science, and one which has never been violated in any experiment. Life can only exist where life has existed before. And the mechanism for this has always been understood to be a material one, such as egg and sperm, or spore and cell division. But Luc Montagnier's experiments have offered a very different hypothesis. The professor showed that DNA sequences, the very building blocks of life, communicate with each other in water by emitting low-frequency electromagnetic waves. Even when the DNA was kept in separate test tubes, the professor still recorded electromagnetic communication between them. How sophisticated could this communication be? Well, Luc Montagnier showed they are able to organize nucleotides, the ingredients which actually make up DNA, into brand new DNA. Science has combined these ingredients countless times before, but in no experiment have they ever been able to recreate the spark of life and transform nucleotides into actual DNA, not without DNA already being present. Life, after all, can only exist where life has existed before. But in Luc Montagnier's experiments, the DNA had been completely filtered from the water. Yet new DNA was still formed. Just how was this possible? How had Luc Montagnier managed to achieve what no other scientist could, and create life where no life was present? What was so different about Luc Montagnier's experiments? There was the presence of a frequency which, when removed, would cause the experiments to fail, but when present, would ensure that they would succeed. That frequency was 7.83 Hertz. Schumann resonance.
Schumann resonance. So that's probably
A delicate relationship had been struck between life and the frequency of the planet.
Okay, so that's that part. Showing to you. Now, the other part of this documentary called Beings of Frequency is on the cryptochrome. Have to wait for the advertising to go off. Okay.
Are there other species that have this sensitivity to magnetic fields? A sensitivity which ultimately makes them vulnerable to man-made frequencies. Unfortunately, the discovery of a new protein cell called a cryptochrome suggests all life has a magnetic sense.
They were discovered in the 1990s in plants, where their function is to absorb blue light, which is used to regulate growth. They were since been found in insects, animals, mammals, including humans, and in birds.
Cryptochromes are a biological molecule called a protein. It's generated by some of your genes, called cryogenes, and the cryptochrome molecule actually controls your circadian rhythms, including melatonin production.
Some of the cryptochromes seem to have a function of absorbing light as detectors for the circadian clock. So they're inputs for the light-dark cycle that many species seem to have, plants as well as animals.
But in the year 2000, Thorsten Ritz demonstrated an even more amazing role for the cryptochrome. In a series of experiments on robins, he demonstrated that their navigational sense was not only a magnetic one, but it came directly from the cryptochrome cells, which are located behind the eye.
I think the Ritz paper published in 2000 is one of those milestones in science. because he proposed that this cryptochrome molecule, which remember is best known for its effect in controlling circadian rhythms, that molecule was actually responsible for giving the compass, magnetic compass information in birds.
The birds literally see the Earth's magnetic field, perhaps as a bright or a dark spot superimposed on their field of vision. And as they then move their head or their body around, this spot moves, and so rather like a heads-up display for a fighter pilot, they have this thing that they see, goodness knows what it would be, which allows them to orient while they're flying.
The way he tested that was to expose birds to radio frequency fields to see if it actually disturbed their magnetic compass. And not only did the radio frequency field indeed disrupt the migration of robins, but it did so at very, very low intensities of fields. And that's really important and really interesting, that very low level radio frequency fields interfered with the robin's compass.
The experiments by Ritz clearly demonstrated that the cryptochrome cell used in navigation was seriously affected by man-made frequencies, and man-made frequencies at levels well below those deemed safe by the governing body ICNIRP.
All of the animal navigation studies, the cockroaches, the zebra finches, the chickens, the robins, they've all had their magnetic compass disturbed by radio frequency fields well below the ICNIRP public exposure limit.
Right, work on birds, particularly birds.
So this could go on.
And insects have shown that they are...
It's a bit too long for me to let it go on, but what I want to share with you is that they also mention in there how that the high frequency waves that come towards our eyes go in there, and they're treated no different than light. It's almost like there's not the ability to make a difference between the light and the high frequency waves. So when you're getting high frequency waves, your melatonin is turned off. Melatonin is very important for protecting the brain and for sleep and for the eyes and many other things. And so there again is an important thing that you need to know about in order to be able to sleep well. You need to know that your body can give off the melatonin, that it's not being exposed not only to bright light before you go to bed. You need to have your light dimmed, or to have a really orange light by painting the light bulbs red or orange. So, but you need to be careful you're not being exposed like I am right now talking to you. I'm not being exposed to it because I have this device emanating the 10 hertz square wave frequency, 9.6 in this case. That is going to knock out all the other waves around me so that they cannot, well, you can hear it ticking away there right now. It's a bit loose. So these are all important things that you should know about. And I believe I've mentioned to you everything that's really important. Remember that earthing, and I don't know if I told you, you can go, like if you just want to do the earthing, you can go to a website here. Like what I do is I use the earth pulse, but I don't want to move it way back when I have a nap onto my bed. So I have a conductive cloth and there's an alligator clip on there going with a wire going into the ground wire in my socket. So that goes through into the telephone pole to a rod that goes into the earth. So I just stick that cloth into my socks, and I know I'm grounded and I'm getting the benefits of grounding, so I'll sleep better because that evens out your insulin way better. It reduces the cortisol, and those are factors, of course, in being able to sleep well. So the many benefits of using this particular device I have, which you can find on my site, and I'll go back right now just to that site if I can. Earth Pulse, it's at helpsheal.com. There you'll find a lot more videos on the Earth Pulse and on this particular topic. You can go there, and there are links through which you can go to the site and look at all the research information and purchase this device. It is $699. Most pulsed electromagnetic field devices are way more expensive than this. They're between $2,000 and $22,000. But this device, and they don't have within it the ability to train the brain into deep sleep. I haven't found any. And they're not small and portable like this is. So this has some real significant advantages, and this one only has the healthy frequencies up to 15 hertz. It doesn't have, like many of these other PEMF devices, high frequencies that can have bad side effects when you use them for a specific area on your body. So I could go on and on sharing about this, but I think I've shared quite a bit. This has been a long video, but I've explained to you the important things you need to know to protect yourself from electromagnetic field pollution through grounding and through things that have been discovered from the science of earthing, such as this Earth Pulse Sleep on Command device, which you can buy through my site at helpsheal.com. Thank you for watching this video.